and you're very welcome along to the final part of the day. And I hope you've had an enjoyable visit here to the Purcell farm. I was lucky enough to get a VIP tour last week, so it's really a magnificent farm, and it's great to see so many people here today. So we're going to have a panel discussion just to finish off the day with key stakeholders, you could say, and hopefully their words of wisdom you can go home with and mull over before you all apply to become organic farmers, those of you that aren't already. And we may have time for a couple of questions from the audience, but I do know that people have to get away in and around 3 o'clock, so we won't delay too long. We're delighted at this stage to have with us the Minister for Agriculture, Food and the Marine, Charlie McConalogue, who's come along today in what's been a very busy week for him and his colleagues. So it's great that the Minister is here. And again, it's another indication of, I suppose, the new focus on organics and the promotion of organics that the Minister has made it his business to be here to address you today. So without further ado, Minister McConalogue, it's over to you.
Thanks very much, Damien, and good afternoon, everyone. And I want to extend a warm welcome to all attendees, farmers and exhibitors at today's significant national event. And my thanks in particular to John Purcell and his team and Good Herdsman for hosting the event here today with such a wide cross-section from within the organic community. And my thanks also to Teagasc, Board BIA, and my own department headed up by Jack Nolan for their work in coordinating today's event as well. And it's great to see and to arrive and to hear about the wonderful interest that's been here over the course of the day and the great turnout. And really it is, I think, a reflection of the very significant interest we have among the farming community in relation to exploring and going down the organic route. And the organic sector in the country has now very much emerged into a significant stand-alone sector, and it has a very exciting and unique future. I'm genuinely enthused and excited by the future of organics in Ireland, as I know many of you are as well. And when you see last week at the Ploughing Championship, the tremendous interest that was there, and indeed for the first time we had a dedicated organic village, and many people went through that, and it was busy throughout the 3 days of the championships. Organics and our commitment to the sector has the entire industry talking, and this is underlined again by the very strong turnout here today. This event today allows us and allows you an opportunity to meet industry experts and demonstrates the benefits of organic farming through a working, viable enterprise that will increase personal knowledge and help answer some of your key questions on financial supports, education, animal health, and importantly, future market potential. Our programme for government has a target of 7.5% of all of our agricultural land to be farmed organically by 2030. And this is an achievable target and one we're very committed to reaching. Key to hitting this ambitious target is ensuring we have the right resources in the right place. And this requires a whole-of-sector approach led by my department. We're going to achieve this target through actions including, firstly, €256 million over the next CAP period to achieve our targets. And that's a five-fold increase in organics payments from what the last CAP would have had. Also through a new organic strategy forum, a high-level group chaired by Pádraig Brennan that is examining increasing participation, markets and public procurement. Also, funding has been provided to the Agricultural Consultants Association in 2022 to increase advisory support, and there has been tremendous feedback from their farm walks. And also, of course, the really significant team in Teagasc with additional staff resources deployed into organics to support them. Also, Board BIA have a dedicated organic sector manager currently being recruited, and then also dedicated organic training hub currently in development as well to address the sector and support the sector. In addition, I'm delighted to see farm organisations recognising the opportunities within organic farming, and would like to commend the IFA for organising 3 organic farm walks. The first of these I know is taking place tomorrow in my own county in Ballyshannon. I'm sure they will be well attended, valuable events as well, and encourage farmers to attend I would encourage farmers to attend and take advantage of the opportunity to ask questions again of experienced organic farmers. As can be seen, the supports that are available to farmers now far surpass anything that has existed before. The Irish beef industry has a hard-won reputation for offering a premium product, and that enjoys strong international recognition. And this reputation can be further enhanced by increasing the Irish organic beef offering, which will help stimulate new market opportunities for producers. This is a responsive measure that captures the changing demands of consumers in sourcing products with high welfare conditions, which is produced to a high environmental standard. Increasing participation in the organic sector is a necessary step in anticipating and responding to these changing market conditions, where ethical consumerism is now a primary consideration among a new generation of consumers. It's incumbent on all of us here today to ensure that the organic concept is well defined to all consumers in the time ahead. The substantial effort that is involved in bringing an organic product to the marketplace is a key selling point. The personnel and expertise that are available here today will demonstrate to you that organic farming is a profitable enterprise, that the foundation of this farming system is to maximize the amount of grazed grass in the diet, increase the quality of the silage made, and reduce imported concentrates. Organic farming is recognized for its pioneering and solutions-led attitude. It is through the deployment of resources, information, and education that we can facilitate a progression to organic farming which minimizes uncertainty and establishes long-term confidence in this community. The benefits of converting will appeal to those farmers that recognize that the fundamental principles of improving environmental benefits for all and applying sustainable methods of farming holds equal value to the economic dividend of securing a premium price for produce. So, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, organics is not just a niche or a fad. It's a very real and genuine part of our sector and will continue to grow, develop and expand in the time ahead. Along with Minister of State Pippa Hackett, we are committed to seeing the sector grow for the benefit of farmers, the industry and the environment. I want to thank all of you for being here today, for showing the interest in the sector that you have shown. And I do believe that the sky is very much the limit for organics and that you can be part of this hugely exciting industry in the years ahead. So, go raibh míle maith agah go léir. Thank you once again to John and all involved in organising and hosting Teagasc, Borbia and my own department for working with yourselves and working with good herdsmen for putting this together again. And thanks Damien for his ever expertise, coordination of the MCing here as well. And I hope you certainly get significant value from it. And I certainly can assure you that the funding is there and will be there to support the development of this sector. And I think it's really, really exciting for all of us to see the wonderful energy and interest that's there. It's very, very rare and very, very unique that you would have an event where over 1,000 people would turn up to any one event. And that shows really the interest that's there and the direction and potential that we have in this sector. And I look forward to very much, along with Minister Hackett, supporting you in that journey and travelling this road with you. So, go raibh míle maith agah go léir. Thank you.
Minister, thank you very much indeed for that address, and it's great that you are here. Just a reminder, everybody, this is being recorded, so if you're going to have a little snooze or anything like that, just be careful. It's going to be probably broadcast at a later stage by our friends here. So can I invite our panel to come to the stage, please? We have Jack Nolan from the Department of Agriculture. The farmer, the host here, John Purcell, is here with us too. Pat Dillon is Head of Business Directorate with Teagasc. We also have Joe Bourke of Borbia and Catherine Roche, who is Business Development and Marketing Director with Irish Country Meats, with a strong focus on lamb. You're all very welcome. So you represent, I suppose, a broad sphere of the whole organic sector. Jack, I might start with yourself. First of all, as somebody that's been charged in the department with trying to push on organics, you must be heartened by the crowds here today.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic, Damien, and I think, in fairness, Minister McConalogue, coming from budget press briefing this morning down here shows the importance that the department are putting on organics, and as he said there, money is available into the future. We have Board BA today, the resources that Teagasc had to put together, you know, our own department. It's a huge effort. And also I have to say there's a great groundswell amongst organic farmers and producers. They just needed a chance to get going, and I think this is the chance, and I think organics is only going to go from strength to strength.
Okay, so how difficult or how easy is it now for somebody to transition?
It's a mindset more than anything. You know, that you can survive without chemical fertiliser at €1,000 a tonne. I can, you can too. You have to look through the sheds there, see what do you have to do. But here today there are people from Teagasc, from the Organic Association, the certifying bodies, the Organic Trust. And when you talk to them, you see, and I mean, look at the stock that are outside when we went through the land there. They're comparable to stock on the best farms in Ireland. And that's a key thing for farmers. I think they want to produce good quality stock, and they want to make a reasonable quality of living, and you can do that as an organic farmer. So the opportunity is there, and if you look at the measures that the Minister announced yesterday and today, support for multi-species grass, red clover, liming, all these things feed into the barrow of organic farmers, and hopefully people are going to come on board in huge numbers.
Okay, farmers by their nature, they're innovative, they're adventurous, but they'll always ask the question, what's the bottom line here? Can I make money from it? So would you say that that is the question that's asked most at these events? How can I actually make money? Is the demand there for the product at the end of the day?
So in the summer, Minister Hackett led a trade mission to Biofac. Board B organised it. It was a fantastic event. And there, German retailers said, we will buy as much organic beef, lamb, cheese as you can produce in Ireland at a premium of 5 to 10%. And when you put that in and add in the payment from the government, which is now about €10,000 for an average sized farm, along with reduced costs from no meal or very reduced meal and fertiliser, your bottom line is going to be better. Like we were saying earlier on to people, talk to your accountant. Talk to your accountant about this and look at the figures, because there are huge opportunities here.
Okay, you just mentioned Board B. I may bring you in at this stage, Joe. So again, that question about the demand. I mean, farmers have been stung before with other projects we won't go into, maybe 20 years ago or so, in other enterprises. But when it comes to organic produce, is the demand there, number one? And number two, your job around the world is marketing Irish produce. You're almost marketing it as almost organic anyway, aren't you? Can you make the distinction?
Yeah, we'd be hugely optimistic about the potential that's there, Damien, in terms of the opportunity now to significantly grow the proportion of produce that's coming from Irish farms that's organic. We're starting from a very low base. You know, from a beef perspective, we've only 11,500 finished cattle currently, that are organic out of, over 1.8 million cattle in total. So less than 1%, it's even closer to 0.5%. Yeah, there's really, really strong market demand, in order to grow that substantially. Is there a market? We know that on the home market, there's still some potential there to grow, and we've been working with 3 of the biggest Irish retailers in order to maximise that opportunity. Currently, about 45% of Irish organic beef is sold on the home market, but even more significant to that, the proportion which is exported, which is just over half. There's massive opportunity there, as you touched on there in the German market. There's really strong demand there. It's our biggest market for Irish organic beef. And then after that, a number of other European markets as well. So we would be really optimistic and positive that the market is there. We know from our market research as well that in some markets, up to 15% of their grocery purchases of consumers are organic. Here in Ireland, it's only around 1%. So yeah, there is significant market opportunities out there, and in many of those countries, they're less than self-sufficient. Even though they produce a lot of organic, for example, beef themselves in Germany, they need to import some, and of course, who would be better to supply it than ourselves with a good foothold in that market? I suppose in terms of Board B's other priorities and other projects, for example, under Origin Green, we're continuously talking about Origin Green, but Origin Green is our national sustainability program. It's an umbrella brand, but it's at a business-to-business level. So there's no reason that the two would be in any way in conflict with each other. Certainly, Origin Green, it extends to organic as well, but organic is a consumer, it's something that stands over the product right through its production system, through to the consumer level. And as we know, there is a growing cohort of consumers who are looking out for an organic offering, and that they can identify that it's produced naturally and it's sustainable and so on also.
Well, just on that, we are in a cost of living crisis, as we know at the moment, and reflected in the budget yesterday. Is something like organic produce one of those, I suppose, luxuries that will suffer as people begin to obviously reprioritise their spending?
Yeah, from what we have seen, Damien, and in maybe more mature markets, again, such as Germany, we haven't seen the number of, for example, organic consumers trading down or trading back. They're continuing to buy organic. In some cases, they mightn't be going to the highest priced organic, dedicated organic only store. They might be going more to their ordinary supermarket and buying the own brand organic, for example, within that store. But overall, the organic market itself so far has been very resilient in spite of higher cost of living, price inflation and so on. We haven't seen any shrinkage, and in many markets we're continuing to see growth.
Okay, well, John, can I bring you in on that? We'll talk to you a little bit more about the farm at the moment, but you obviously have some knowledge of markets and consumer demands through Good Herdsmen. Just on that, the purchasing power of people who shop organically, is it going to be under pressure, or are they a different type of consumer?
Yeah, I mean, for us, like the sweet spots would be Germany and UK for our exports. And we find if you look at the German market, it's such a mature market, as Joe just said. We're into our second generation organic consumers at this stage. So they're not trading out of organic anytime soon. They're raising their own families in organic. So like that, there's a bit of pressure. People are trading now maybe to a discounter as opposed to an exclusive organic shop. But I don't see any pressure coming from the recession, as you might call it. The UK, on the other hand, we're dealing with say Ocado. They're dealing within the M25. That's a different economy totally, and it's working very, very well.
Okay, so can you give me the picture, I suppose, from a beef perspective of the Irish market and what the potential actually is, based on your experience and the demand that there is in international markets?
Yeah, the Irish market, as Joe said, about 45% of our produce is currently sold on the Irish market. I can't see that growing hugely. You might have tangible growth of maybe 2 or 3% per year, but for the amount of farmers that we're expecting to come into the scheme, exports have to be focused on.
But did you tell me one time that you could fill 3 times what we're killing at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, Jack and I, we introduced, met everybody this morning, and we bantered out a figure there. There's no reason why we can't do 200,000 cattle per year, currently from 11,000. I see the markets are established there for that.
And what are we doing at the moment?
11,000.
And you could do 200,000?
I believe so, yes, I believe so, genuinely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's confidence.
Because we're not knocking on any doors of the major European retailers. We're dealing with the smaller operators, the mom and pop stores we call them. That's all we can currently deal with because of the volume.
Okay, we're talking a lot about beef. So, Catherine, your area of expertise is lamb. So will you give me a picture, I suppose, paint the picture for the organic lamb market in this country?
It's probably similar to what John is saying, that it is a small market at the moment. The Irish organic lamb is probably less than 1% of the national kill. So what we're doing is that we're supplying probably 30% of our product into the domestic market, and 70% is going to export, which is going mainly into Germany, France, Belgium, places like that, but into wholesale, into baby food, into companies kind of like that, and into some retailers. But we see a huge demand for it, that there's consumers are looking for it, and then the retailers in turn are looking for what their customers want. So that demand is there, but unfortunately with lamb farming, there's very patchy supply, the seasonality of supply. It's very difficult to offer a very credible offering, a 52-week supply offering to our suppliers.
Yeah, I would have thought that, sheep farming in Ireland, standing back and looking at it, that it's only one step away from almost being organic, particularly the mountain lamb and all of that. But is there a lot more to it? Is it a big transition?
It's not that there's a lot more to it. Unfortunately, a lot of lambs are being lost to the conventional trade, whereas they're being sold from the organic single producer, and then when they're brought through to the store trade, they're being lost to that conventional market. So that's where we're seeing huge loss here at the moment, but it would be great to get new people in as well, but to keep those organic lambs as organic right through to the end level, right through to the processor and right onto the customer shelf.
And is the infrastructure there, in other words, to expand? Like, do we have enough processing facilities?
Definitely have enough processing facilities. Both our sites in Camolan and Navan are approved by the IOA to process Irish organic lambs. But the demand is there, but unfortunately we don't have the lambs coming in to fill everything that we need, so it's definitely there. But then I would see that there's probably not very many people that are going to run out and suddenly become Irish organic sheep farmers. So it's going to be a conversion of existing farmers that are there already. So it's just a migration from one to the other.
Right.
There's
And it's
definitely
the premium at the end of the day as well.
Definitely, I think there's definitely the more affluent kind of domestic and Western European consumer is out there looking for the product and are happy to pay a premium to an extent that Jack has spoke about the 5-10%. So the customers out there, they're already paying a premium for product and they're happy to pay a premium for the Irish lamb because it's seen as a great product. It's seen as like a very environmentally safe product.
Yeah.
It's very clean product. So to the consumer out there, they're very happy to pay that extra for it.
All right. Pat Dillon, from a Teagasc perspective, are you confident now, are you as an organisation happy to go out and advise farmers now to look seriously at switching to organics?
Damien, yes, I think we are. I think there's a real opportunity for the agri-food sector here. It has to be profitable at farm level. We're just launching a new climate change strategy, and diversification is going to be part of that, and organics is going to be a big part of that. So we have appointed 6 new advisors in the last number of months, just in the last 2 months. We have a new specialist group working on it. And we wouldn't be doing this unless we convinced that there was something in it for farmers and for the total agri-food sector. And I think that probably we've missed another discussion. This also is going to help us to reach our climate change targets, and that's another important issue as a side issue of the whole thing. So yes, I think, and then we saw the first Teagasc stand with Joe Kelleher, and he highlighted really at farm level what do we need to do. It's around grazing management. How do we grow grass without fertilizer? And there's a lot of the technologies are there. And the second thing is reducing your concentrate feeding and substituting that with high quality forage produced on the farm. So that's the farming side of it, and that's going to be really important. And as Joe said, the marketing side is going to be to give us a premium in terms of the price for it. And the Minister outlined, the supports are there for it, which are fantastic support. Yeah. So there's a real opportunity
and
for us.
Is there a lot of research going on at Teagasc level as well?
And you don't have to repeat every bit of research because our basic system is very close to organics anyhow, but there are aspects that we need to do, yes, and we have a group set up and we're going to advance the program around dairy and the beef and the sheep, and they're different in different ways what we need to do, and we're working very closely with Jack too and the department on that whole area. So yes, we're going to have a very active research program around it.
Okay, Jack, can I come back to you? So let's say there's people here today who've come along seriously considering switching. Because of a lot of the challenges that are coming down the tracks in terms of the 25% reduction, all that, organics could actually be, the catalyst to getting there for a lot of people. So where are we now? If I'm a beef farmer and I want to switch, I'm impressed with what I've seen today. What's the process involved now, as you see it?
So we hope, Damien, there's hundreds here and thousands throughout the country that are going to switch. The first thing they have to do is talk to a certification body and see exactly what the standards are. Walk around their own farmyard, see is their shed, are their cattle solely on slats? Because if they are, they'll have to put in place a straw layback. And if they need that, they'll get a 50% grant from TAMS as an organic farmer from the 1st of January. Plus, the Minister announced yesterday accelerated capital allowances. That'll apply to slurry storage and livestock manure. So that'll look after that for them. After that, they have to look at their system. Like, what are they? If they're in calf to beef at the minute, that's not going to work. But if they're into winter finishing, if they're lamb, like Catherine said, if they're tillage, we see huge demand there, as has been outlined by Bord Bia and by John and Catherine. I'd just like to say about Bord Bia. Bord Bia have a worldwide reach. And we need to take that into account when we're talking about organics. Like, they have 10 or 12 offices around the world. We have never had an organic offering to give, to say, Bord Bia, go and sell it. We're going to have it now. And just watch Bord Bia sell it. Like, we're one of the biggest beef exporters in the world. Why can't they do the same for organics? To come back then, our scheme will open in the middle of October. Talk to an ACA, they're down below in a trailer, or to a Teagasc advisor, and put in place a plan, a conversion plan for 2 years about how you're going to change your farm so that you can grow grass without nitrogen. You'll be looking after your animal welfare, putting in place a plan and so on, and come into the scheme and enjoy it and, take the benefit of all the supports that are on offer.
You mentioned Bord Bia there. Do we need a separate marketing board for organics?
This comes up. Denmark went down this road and they had a separate body to market organic food in comparison. So just say that we did, right? We have 11,000 cattle to be sold. Are we going to open an office all around the world for 11? We're not, like, for 11,000 cattle. So what we are going to do, and what Board Bia have done, is put in more resources to organics. And once we have the product, they will sell it. And John said it earlier, and when you look around the farm or go to any organic farm, we're over 90% grass. Like, we can market, Board Bia can market Irish organic grass-fed product like nobody else. So no, I wouldn't go down the road of a separate body, but I would be saying to Board Bia, we have the product coming in 2 years' time, get ready, get the markets ready for us.
Joe?
Yeah. Thanks very much, Jack, for that vote of confidence, and we'll certainly rise to that challenge. We're certainly happy to rise to that challenge, Damien, for sure. Jack makes a good point that we have all these resources in place. That Board Bia has market offices all over the world, strategically positioned in these key markets. So leveraging them is the way to go in order to maximise the advantage there from an organic perspective for Irish organic beef, Irish organic lamb, similarly for Irish organic dairy, working similarly with the stakeholders through our organic stakeholder group, really working out what is the best strategy. We know that the output is increasing, that the production will be there, and just tweaking along with the client companies as well too, where are the best outlets to be found, and I suppose the highest returning sustainable markets for that product, Damien.
But again, I'll just go back to a question I kind of was putting to you earlier on about, I've been on those trips around the world with Board Bia where you're marketing Irish beef as this specialist, grass-fed, premium product. How do you go, even a step above that again to kind of say, organic is even better than that, if you know what I mean? I mean, is there a bit of would there be a conflict there now?
No, there wouldn't be, genuinely, because a lot of your customers, in this case, they know what they're looking for, Damien. They know that they're looking for organic. So it's in order to communicate and to effectively convey that Ireland does organic better than anyone else, that actually we have the expertise, we have the long grass growing season, which farmers, as you said, have anyway, but actually our standards and our production and our organic farmers are able to supply that demand for that organic production. So no, there isn't a conflict. It's
a different consumer, really, at the end of the day, who's looking for organic than that's looking for the conventional trade.
Okay.
So it's not selling the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just on something you mentioned earlier, Catherine. Again, if we're talking about the lamb trade, we are, as you said, in this country, we're committed to kind of lambing early in the year, between February and Easter or whatever like that. So is that a bit of a problem?
It is at the moment that we don't have this offering at the moment. Like, the supply coming in is very patchy, it's sporadic. Plus then coming to the end of the year, the lambs aren't as good as what they would be kind of in the June, July, once you get into the October, November, so the quality of it. Another side of it where we find we have problems as well is that our customers who are looking for the product, they're looking for Board Bia Quality Assure product, and there's not very many of the organic producers out there that are part of that scheme from a lamb perspective, so we would hope that they would get on board with that as well. So it's really about bringing everything together and everybody working together as part of one, coming together to sell the best product out there in the world, because as what everybody's talked about and Joe's talked about today, we have a world-class product, so it's about everyone coming together, be it farmers, suppliers, producers, and bring it out there to the export markets.
Okay. By the way, if you have questions, just raise your hand, and I think we have a couple of roving mics, do we? So somebody will get a mic. Just raise your hand if you do have a question. We prefer questions rather than statements as well, if you don't mind. Jack, you want to come in?
Just on the land question, in fairness, a group of farmers in Donegal have come together to try and work on how we're going to get over this, because in 2 years' time we're going to have a lot more lamb. And we need farmers in the east of the country and this side of the country that'll take on lamb after the harvest and finish them on catch crops and finish them on grass. But farmers, in fairness, you said it earlier on, they're innovative. They're looking to solve the problem already, to make sure that we can get that year-round supply. Teagasc will be central to it in Athenry. They've already done a lot of work on catch crops. And I think Pat made a really important point earlier on. It's not like organics is completely different to all other research or agriculture that's gone on. There's a lot of research there on clover, multi-species, catch crops, that's equally applicable whether you're organic or chemical farming.
Right, okay. John, just suppose you have the experience. You have a magnificent farm here. I think everybody that's walked around it today will agree. And you've done an awful lot of work in terms of the biodiversity corridors as well, which we can talk about in a moment. But, do you have to be big? Do you have to be producing at scale to be able to make it as an organic farmer? I'm thinking about, you know, the average suckler farmer down the west of Ireland with 15 sucklers or whatever. Do you have to be much bigger to make it?
Well, I suppose, Damien, we're blessed to have the land we have here, but I wouldn't say it's an advantage. We do have scale, but it's definitely not an advantage. I mean, it's the horses for courses. The farmers with the heavier land maximise their own potential with producing the best suckling calves in the country. Yeah. And so they're maximising their own farms. We're still all getting paid the same rate per acre from the department, so there's no advantage. We do have scale, but we had to up the game here. We are renting 600 acres, so it's not easy from that point of view commercially, but we had to up the game to make sure we have continuity of supply.
And you grow all your concentrates here and your meal, and you've a combi crop system here, is that right?
That's correct, yeah. No, we don't like to call them concentrates. It's the arable silage. Right. But anyway, we do. And we've only started that about 5 years ago, very successfully. We brought a young man on board with us from Ag College, John Fennessy, and John gave us the courage to drive on and so, because we were bringing in feed into the farm before. So now we're a closed circle system. Nothing comes in, and only straw and cattle. And so it's very successful. But I tell you, if cattle dealers can do that, and that's what we are, we're cattle dealers, if we can grow tillage successfully, any farmer can, I can tell you.
Okay, now you have to be honest as well. Are there any downsides?
What's not there to like about organic, you know? There's nothing, I genuinely can't. There's one farmer, I tell you, in last week's, 2 weeks paper, whatever, Conor Larkin up there in Offaly, he said if the beef market collapsed in the morning, he'd still say organic. He found the system so. Yeah. And I tell you, we had a farmer here today, never mind, he's a dairy farmer, he said, I'd never go organic, he says, but I love the way you grow grass. I'm going down to learn how you grow grass. Right. So I would not leave the system. It's a great way to farm, yeah.
And Pat, maybe could the organic model actually be used by farmers, not necessarily to sell into the organic market, or would they have to, but as a way, I suppose, of meeting the climate targets?
Yeah. I mean, you've no fertilizer, no nitrogen. I mean, you've that taken out in terms of nitrous oxide from the system. I mean, you have better water quality, probably. It's slightly lower stock rate. You have all the biodiversity coming in. So all those are really positive in where we want to go. But just to go back to the point is that, and I think it's really important, is we have a system and we need to fine-tune that system to convert it to organics rather than throwing out everything. And that's the way we'll get farmers in and convince them. Like, fair enough, you have the white clover, you have the red clover, you may have the other crops as well. But I mean, and it's the key is keeping costs down and keeping costs down in terms of what red clover can give you in terms of performance. And you're showing it here, John, in terms of the performance you're getting during the winter period from red clover silage, you know. I mean, that is, and the work from Grange is supporting that from the research side, you know. So it's those things you plug into the system that give you that'll get you over the hump in terms of moving on.
Okay, have we any questions? The light here is kind of difficult, it's blinding me. Man here, just, can we get a microphone? Do we have a roving mic?
Could I say something on the downsides?
Yeah, okay, just while we're getting
Just on the downsides, it's still farming. Things are still going to go wrong. You have a 5% chance of inspection by me or my colleagues, and every year you're going to be visited by an organic certification body. You have to attend training, 25 hours, and there are costs involved every year. So be realistic, it's really important. We want you to be realistic coming into the scheme. There are huge benefits to it, as John and colleagues have outlined, but they're the downsides that I see to it. You're not going to go out with a bag of fertiliser if things go wrong. So it takes better planning. You have to plan ahead. You have to have a buffer of silage. But don't come in thinking everything is magic in organics, because it's not. But it is a good system of farming, but do be realistic.
Okay, all right. Yes, go ahead, please. Just introduce yourself.
Edmund Phelan. I'm a farmer from County Waterford. Thinking going organic, almost convinced at this stage. But we talk about conventional farmers. Back when I started 50 years ago, organic was the conventional farmer. I mean, fertilizer was very, very little used. But somewhere along the line, we lost our way from being farming biologically to farming chemically.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's a case of back to the future, we have to return. But talking to a lot of farmers, one thing that is holding them back is the housing. And I don't know is there any way around it. People have invested an awful lot of money in slatted sheds and are very reluctant to leave that. So I don't know whether anything can be done. But
yeah. Okay, so just on that, Jack, in relation to housing, do I need it from the 1st of January onwards if I go into the scheme in October?
So you're okay for the first winter. So if you come in now from the 1st of January until you let the cattle out, you're okay with whatever system you have. as regards space and slats. But from the time you house the cattle next winter, they must meet the organic requirements. Now, to assist you with that from the 1st of January, there's a 50% grant in TAMS for organic farmers. I know it'll take time to get planning, so you need to get going now. And there's also, like the Minister announced yesterday, accelerated capital allowances. And 7 out of 10 farmers in Ireland have an off-farm income. So they're probably paying tax on the farm income, so you'll write it off in 2 years. We've discussed this with the EU Commission. It's in the regulation. It will not be changed that animals can be housed on slats, whether there's rubber mats or not. But you can go down below to John's yard and see the way he's adapted the sheds. But leave here today clear, 50% grant, accelerated capital allowances, but you will have to have straw bedding by next winter before you house the cattle. The other opportunity is to outwinter the cattle, of course. But if you're going to house them, you must have straw bedding.
Okay. Any more questions?
One more here.
Yep. Where are we?
Hi,
Oh, yeah.
hi, I'm Mary Lynch. I'm the organic specialist with the ACA. I started my career as an organic researcher with Teagasc 25 years ago on an organic research farm in Johnstown Castle. And I wonder, have Teagasc any plans now, which I think farmers really need, is to see some organic research farms that Teagasc would run to show best practice on organic farms?
Okay, Pat?
Okay, yeah, and it's a very good point, and I've been around a long time too, and I'll reflect back on our efforts on organics back the last 20 or 30 years, and I would say that we weren't serious about it, being honest, or previous, but I think we are serious now. And yes, we will have a demo, part demo, to compare with conventional, say, dairy farming. We are planning to set up that, yeah, and that on the ground. And yes, we are going to be serious about it. And
Right, we're getting serious. And Joe, you know, over the years, your time on board BIA, have you seen a change in attitude? I mean, you know, provenance and sustainability, and there's taxonomy obviously at EU level now, where farmers, let alone the processors, but farmers on the ground are going to have to display, you know, some semblance of sustainability. Are you finding that that's what customers now abroad are actually looking for? There is a bottom line there, and maybe it's a case that we nearly will all have to go semi-organic anyway.
Yeah, at a customer level, definitely, Damien, we're seeing that the customers themselves want to align their supply chains and to make sure that they're able to demonstrate to, in turn, their consumers that they're acting sustainably, you know, and in a way that has been the driver of Origin Green and I suppose the background to its success to date. Yeah. And it's also a key driver, I suppose, in terms of also the organic market and even many of them taking it more seriously now and trying to, you know, I suppose, position themselves better in that regard and to make sure that they're supplying the best possible organic offering that they can to their customers. And we think that's where Ireland could play a key role.
Yeah, Catherine and John, just on that again, customers.
Yeah, our customers, just on the straw thing, for instance, I mean, the main reason consumers buy organic is actually, for beef organic, is animal welfare. So straw bedding is key, and as Jack said, that will not change, I guarantee you. Yeah. But the consumers, they're as said to you before, they're very educated consumer. We're trying to do, on this farm, we're trying to sequester enough carbon on the farm to call ourselves carbon neutral by 2025-26. And they're the USPs we're going to need when we go to the market, grass-fed, carbon neutral, and that's what consumers are going to buy into. Because, I mean, as Jack said again, about the farming, there are no downfalls, but you have to look at the ups and downs. But on the market, there are a lot of headwinds, if you like, and we need to be best in class and show what Ireland has, and we're good at grass-fed, we're good at outdoors, and we have good quality stock, and we need to get those messages out there. Communication is key, and that's where Bord Bia, for us, they're a fantastic partner because they're selling Ireland, that's what they're selling, and it's up to us then to follow on. They're not going to do the deal for you, but they're breaking the ground for you, and we need to be there behind them with all those USPs.
Yeah, Catherine?
Well, I think we're already winning. The Global Food Index for Food Security was released kind of earlier in the week, and Ireland was ranked second in the world. So we already have a fantastic product out there, and by going that next level with organic, it's a no-brainer, really. I think it's just, we are already known for our great produce. Once we go out with organic, people will already understand what they're getting. They understand they're getting top food from Ireland, so they won't even need to think about organics in Ireland. It'll just be best in class.
Okay, anybody else in the audience? John, okay, go ahead. Yep.
John Curran, IFA like project team, and I'm also an organic
just
farmer.
Speak up a little bit, John. Yeah, speak up a little bit.
IFA like project team, and also an organic farmer from County Meath. My question is, Bord Bia have identified like the markets we have been told that the markets have been there for beef and lamb. The problem I've seen going forward is the premium, or maybe the lack of premium. And we have been told that the consumers only are prepared to pay like 10% of a markup premium.
Yeah.
But 10% at farm level is not going to work out, because there's a very limited amount of processing sites in the country for both beef and lamb. It cost me €5 to get me lambs down to Wexford to get them killed, when there's a factory in Navan 15 minutes away. Like, there's not processing, even though it's licensed. It cost me €50 to get me cattle killed down to Slaney Meats or down to Good Herdsman.
Yep.
That's most of your premium gone. And the issue is, all of the processing facilities, whether it be Good Herdsman, Slaney or ICM, are all owned by the one processor, APB. So how are we going to get competition into the market to bring in the other processors, Dawn, Keypack, the other lamb processors, to try to get competition into the market and cut out this transport cost that's killing the whole system going forward? Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that, John. Yeah, well, it's an interesting point. Does anyone want to take, John? Do you want to
Yeah, it's a dangerous one to answer,
take
isn't
that
it?
politically sensitive question?
Well, listen, John is right, but again, back to the facts. 11,000 cattle, share that among eight or nine processors, it doesn't work. No market will be serviced.
So we've a bit of a chicken and egg scenario going
Correct, correct. And I know by today, and what's in the last two schemes that are open, we will have, I believe, an extra 50 or 60,000 cattle in the next few years. Then, by all means, it's inviting for other processors to get involved.
Yeah. Joe, do you want to come in that just on the price? I mean, this again, you know, the closing of the gap between the premium for organics and conventional.
And that varies as well, depending on the time of the year and all of the various competitive factors, I suppose, Damien. And yeah, we have seen in the past other processors slaughtering organic cattle, for example. It's a very customer-specific thing. And, you know, as has been said, as our supply grows, and indeed as those other processors see the opportunity to supply some of their existing customers maybe, or even indeed other customers with Irish organic beef and Irish organic lamb, we would be very, you know, positive that that will represent a strong enough opportunity, Damien, that they'll, again, it's not anything new. They have previously slaughtered and processed organic beef and lamb, some of them. So it's not going to be a step change for them to do so again. We wouldn't see it as being a huge obstacle.
Catherine, just on that, I mean, there's a farmer living up the country.
Yeah, well, hopefully that once the supply comes in, like, we welcome all processors to become certified IOA so that they can process organic beef and lamb and get their product out there. It's about everybody coming together and working together as a group and as kind of all the organics farmers, processors, and just getting our product out there. So we welcome that, hopefully that once supply comes, that we will be able to start processing more and more.
Okay, I'll take one more maybe. There's a man here, yeah.
Michael Edgeworth, beef and sheep farmer. Just like to thank the Minister, first of all, for being with us today, and for everybody else involved. I think it was an excellent, very professional presentation. In previous organic systems or schemes, there was a point system applied, and there were a large number of farmers who were willing and able to join organics, but were stopped at the latter stages. And sometimes in the press you get the impression that farmers are reluctant to go into organics and have difficulties with it and want to stay with traditional farming and so on. The reality is that quite a lot of farmers were actually stopped from getting into organics, myself included. So what I would like to...
Why were you stopped, Michael?
Pardon?
Why were you stopped?
We went through the entire process from start to finish. We did the audits, we passed all the audits, we modified our buildings, we did everything that was required, and then the point system was applied by the department, which is effectively a veto. And we failed to make the grade. The pass rate was 70, we got 68. So therefore we weren't allowed into the system. Now at this point we had spent quite a bit of money and we'd put quite a bit of effort into it. But okay, that's the past. My question is this.
Yes.
In this new scheme, is the same point system going to apply? And what I would suggest as a solution to that problem, perhaps, well, maybe two possible solutions. One is that the veto is scrapped altogether, or two is that the point system is applied at the beginning. when the farmer makes the first application. So now the farmer knows where he stands, rather than going out, spending a lot of money, putting a lot of effort into it, and then finding at the end that he's not allowed in for some reason. For example, the reason we were given was because we were beef and sheep farmers, and it was suggested to me that if we had grown 1 acre of oats, we would have been allowed in. Okay. So, like, while the principle is a great principle, there are lots of farmers in Ireland who want to become engaged in organic farming. It is definitely the future, there's no question about it. But on the other hand, on the other side of the scale, any obstacles and impediments that apply, and this tends to be a pretty common thing in Ireland, need to be taken out so that we can go on and get on with it.
I understand. Okay, so Jack, just on that, I mean, this is, you know, we've heard this before. Farmers are scared about getting into something that they are not sure what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah, I suppose it was 2018 when the scheme opened and former Minister Andrew Doyle came into the field up there, and he was just saying the sea change that's taken place since. You know, you're 100% right. Everything that Michael said was right. People applied for the scheme. They were told late in the year, sorry, we don't have enough money to take you in. There's been an 80% increase in funding this year. The Minister said we're going up to 256 million and said that funding will be available. This is a target in the programme for government. It's in the Climate Action Plan, like Pat said. It'll help us from a biodiversity and water point of view. So as a farmer, I'd feel confident that if you apply, there will be a point scheme. We can't run a scheme without a point scheme, so you have to be eligible. In the past, it was based on tillage. This time, dairy and horticultural producers will get priority access. There are about 72 dairy farmers in the country. But we are saying to farmers out there, the money is available. The Minister said it. Funding will be available if you apply. So we're encouraging everybody to apply. We want to grow the sector in Ireland. We want to get to 7.5%. We're at 2%. We need you to come in. But I fully accept what you say about letting you farm for 9 months and then telling you, oh, sorry. That cannot be allowed to happen again. No, I fully accept that. And I'm not giving you a guarantee, but I'm encouraging everybody here that the funding will be there.
Okay, Jack, just one other question strikes me. Are you going to be excluded or discover when you apply for the organic scheme that you're going to be locked out of other schemes?
No. Like, you get your BIS, next year it'll be basic payment, you'll get your ANC. If you go into, you'll get priority access into acres, 50% grant rate in TAMS, so all these things are pushing you up the line. You won't be able to draw down area-based payments in acres and get the organic payment on top of it. So, for example, in this part of the country, you might consider wild bird cover. The department are paying you to produce food as well as the ecosystem services that everybody here talked about around biodiversity and so on. So in wild bird cover, you won't get that. The same thing with low-input grass. If you choose low-input grass, you won't get the organic payment on it as well. But there are all linear measures like planting trees, hedgerows, buffers and so on. So what you should do is sit down with your advisor, whether that's the agricultural consultants below, the private people, Mary's colleagues or Teagasc, and say, what's the best package on offer for me? Because win, lose or draw, it's the bottom line here. You can talk about premiums, but at the end of the year, it's the bottom line. Right. So you want to make the most money you can, and money from the state is guaranteed. And what I'm suggesting is you start with that. How much money can I make there? Bring it onto the farming system, and on you go.
Okay, look, I'm conscious of time, and I know it's great that so many people have stayed on for this, and I do hope that you've learned a lot from our panellists, but I'm conscious of time and people have other engagements to get to. So I'm going to wrap it there, but before we go, maybe just a few words, take-home message from each of you, starting with yourself, Joe. What's your key message here today to this audience?
Yeah, really positive experience, obviously, being on the farm today and seeing the big crowds, Damien. I suppose market orientation, just for anyone, whether they're involved in a beef finishing system like this or indeed a suckler, to weanling type of a production system. Think about, well, where am I going to sell? Where will I maximise, hopefully, the value of my stock and hopefully the premium that can be generated? So making sure to minimise the amount of leakage that we're seeing from the organic production system, but also trying to get the best possible value that we can and maximise the value of the organic stock, whether they be beef, sheep, or indeed other sectors.
Catherine?
For me, it's communication. I just love for farm suppliers coming into ourselves to just keep the lines of communication open. Let us know what you're doing if you're moving into the organic trade, just so we know what's happening and what we can expect supply-wise. So then we can go to our customers and tell them, look, here we go. We're going to have product coming on in a year, 2 years' time. What can we do to get it on the shelf?
Okay, Pat?
Yeah, I would say from the farmer's point of view, you have to maintain or increase profitability, and the technologies around grazing management, better forage quality, substituting for concentrate feed, any of the high cost feeds in the system. That is really important. You have to make more money of it. The technologies are there, working on those technologies. And I would say that looking forward, you'll get a lot of new entrants to organics, and they'll innovate even more. And there's some people here in the audience that are very good farmers, and they'll cop it today, and they'll be the leaders of the day. That always happens anyhow. So innovate, and that will be very important.
All right, John.
Well, I'd say that a lot of work went into that booklet that is produced today. So I said, read that. All the information is in there. I've never seen such support for any scheme from the Minister's office right down to other departments. It's really, everything is aligned together now at this stage. So I do encourage farmers, as I mentioned at the start, consider a bit of winter finishing, because we all have to take responsibility in the sector and make sure we have beef for these export markets that we're going to acquire.
Okay. And Jack?
Be proud to be organic and be an early mover. When REP started 30 years ago, the only people going into it were considered to be kind of, you know, tree huggers or environmentalists. By the end of it, there were 60,000 in it. Be an early mover and take advantage of it, because you'll be the ones that will make most. I've never worked in an area so ripe for opportunity and so ripe for people coming into it. So come on in.
All right, come on in. He's a great salesman. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we wish you a safe journey home. I hope you enjoyed your day. Thank you very much for coming along, and sure, we'll see you again here maybe in 12 months' time. Thank you.